Thank you for standing by and welcome to the PainChek investor webinar and Q&A following the company's quarterly update. Please note that the presentation being used today has just been lodged with the ASX. All participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be a presentation lasting for approximately 20 minutes, followed by Q&A. So if you have a question you'd like to submit, please feel free to type it in using the Q&A function within Zoom. And please note that today's session is being recorded. On behalf of PainChek today, we have the CEO and Managing Director, Philip Baffis. I'll hand it over to you, Philip. Go ahead.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you everyone for attending today. Real pleasure to catch up with you again at the end of this quarter and to present the quarter results of PainChek. These results really do reaffirm the value and the rapid take-up of PainChek technology in multiple markets across now 3 continents. This is making PainChek now a new global standards in assessing pain for vulnerable people within aged care, with the home care and with the hospital sector. There's some background on PainChek first. Our purpose is quite simple. It's to give a voice to those people who cannot reliably verbalise their pain. And we do this because pain assessment is very difficult, especially for these people. One extreme of our groups is people living with dementia, with cognitive impairment, who have lost their ability to communicate effectively and rely on these tools to assess and document their pain. On the other hand, pre-verbal children who've not built those communication skills sets yet, and therefore there's a dying need or a clear need to actually have a product like PainChek for this large and very vulnerable group. So we've developed 2 products, the adult version, both are apps, the adult version for people with dementia and cognitive impairments, and the infant version for very young children, and to better support and care for them. For people new to the PainChek story, a quick overview. The PainChek adult app is unique and first to market multidimensional pain assessment technology. It uses AI and smart automation and has regulatory clearance in multiple markets and is patent protected in multiple markets. We've got a dominant position in aged care in Australia and New Zealand and rapidly growing in the UK. We're expanding our presence in the EU and in USA, where we're currently going through FDA clearance, and we now have more than 20 international partnerships to penetrate the residential aged care markets, hospitals and home care markets. We've also, as mentioned, just developed an infant version, which is going through market testing right now. That's got significant opportunity as a home-based tool for parents to assess and manage their infant's pain. Now, these are really significantly large markets, more than 57 million people with dementia, growing to 150 million by 2050, and with no cure in sight. People living with dementia triangulate between home, aged care and hospitals, and we see the opportunity therefore in all these 3 markets. And we've established a position in all 3 of them to date. The size of the infant app is significant. It's actually dwarfs the adult market, with about 150 newborn babies each year and about 400 million kids below the age of 3, or so-called pre-verbal. So we see this as a significant home-based opportunity for mums and dads to use in a similar manner as they would use a thermometer today to assess temperature. We see PainChek being a very simple and effective tool to assess pain. Therefore, you can do both within a 3-second assessment period. In terms of valuing these market opportunities, we've got enough knowledge now of the aged care market. We know there's around 6 million aged care beds around the world, and that equates to around a $300 million ARR annual market. In comparison, the home market we estimate to be 10 times that size. As we age globally, as the desire to remain at home takes more significance, and as technology services and government funding all transition to care in the home. That's happening everywhere. So that will be a significant growth market for us. In terms of infant market, I said it's very large, but we've made some estimates. If we could achieve just 1% penetration of that 400 million pre-verbal children's market, that's the same value as the global market of aged care. That's a $300 million market. So it's a really significant market for us. We are taking a steady approach to getting into it, but we are unique in that sector, and I think there's a massive demand. And finally, the hospital market is opening up to us, especially now we have our agreement with InterSystems in the United States. So let's talk about how we've been penetrated so far. So let's talk about PainChek around the world. And then we'll talk also about PainChek across Australia and then the UK. So our goal is to be a global business, and this describes the progress we've made to date. We now have a presence, and we have commercial contracted presence in more than 1,000 aged care facilities across 3 continents. This is therefore truly now becoming a global digital healthcare business. The Australian New Zealand team at the bottom right there, they have now commercial agreements covering more than 700 aged care facilities and 50,000 aged care beds. And that's 25% penetration of the 200,000 bed Australian market, making PainChek the most popular clinical digital tool in Australia, in Australian aged care, should I say. The UK team has grown the business exponentially to 20,000 beds within a year, across 300 aged care facilities, and on a similar growth trajectory seen in Australia, but a much larger bed market. There's 440,000 beds in the UK, and we've got access to 285,000 of them through our integration partners. So we see rapid growth there. We've got our first sales in Canada, which we've implemented in May, and that's going to be a base for us to actually enter the North American market. In North America, we're currently going through the FDA de novo process, and we're on track for FDA submission in Q4 2023 and a US market entry in calendar 2024. So the US business partnerships we have in place with Point Click Care, InterSystems, and now Ethos Labs as well provide the basis and the capability for us to effectively enter the US market and access that 1 million bed opportunity with our partnership with Point Click Care. If we look at the results for the quarter, well, it's pleased to announce the growth for the year is a sea of green. Annual results show growth of 90% plus in licenses, that's commercial licenses, in recognised revenues and cash receipts, with the UK growth at about 150% in the year and 75% growth just in the past 6 months. What this shows is it confirms the scalability of the PainChek business and our ability to rapidly access these large international markets. From my experience in medical device and diagnostics, once you've demonstrated the ability to commercialize in your domestic market, plus 1 or 2 other recognized international markets, you have the basis of global product and global business. And I believe these results to date confirm the PainChek team, small in number, but big in ability, has achieved this over the past year. Look at the data in a bit more detail. So this chart confirms the 96% growth in contracted licenses in the past year to the 70,000 licensed bed number, which is significant. We have a qualified pipeline on top of that, around 40,000 beds across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, which we are working on to continue that rapid growth curve. Big shout out also to our trainers and our training capability. We train more than 12,000 carers and healthcare professionals. We don't just train them on PainChek, but we train them also on how to assess and how to manage pain, a difficult subject, so hard to visualize and manage, but we're unique in that area as well. So it's a unique offering, both the product and the service, and it reflects the take-up we're receiving and also the outcomes our clients are achieving. Those 70,000 beds we just talked about equates to a 3.4 million ARR, and that's a 70 to 85% gross margin. Our retention rate, that's annual contracts that retain to the following year, is around 85%. This is very positive, as the losses we've seen this year are really the ones, mostly small aged care facilities, who really didn't get going post the government grant and had either staffing or integration issues to be sorted. So we will get back to them in the future when that's all sorted, and we expect our retention rate to grow above the 90% going forwards. Another goal for us is to get to that initial goal of 4.8 million ARR covering our core operating costs. And if you see that growth trajectory in our pipeline, we are very much on the line to achieve that and cover our core operating costs, excluding R&D, corporate and expansion costs. That will be a great first business result for us, and shows that we are a scalable and profitable business. In terms of recognised revenue, that this is basically the revenue from the contracted installed beds. So we only recognise revenue once the beds are installed. This is a backward-looking number, while ARR is a forward-looking number. So again, a 99% increase, and that's the $2 million mark as of June. And this number is directly in line with our ARR numbers. And finally, in terms of the charts, this is a very important chart to us. Great utility of the product with our existing and our new clients. Over 2.9 million global pain assessments conducted as of the end of June, and I can tell you we've already hit 3 million by early July. So the utility is very strong and seen as of great value. So I'm now going to just dig a little bit deeper in terms of the growth, especially in Australia and the UK. This is the Australian map. We are well penetrated in Australia. It's 25% coverage across aged care, and we are now the most popular digital clinical tool used in aged care. In terms of sites, we've got now the 700 aged care facilities and across 50,000 beds, and that covers both large, mid-sized and small aged care facilities. If you look at the list at the bottom there, these 9 providers all contracted with PainChek now. They cover around 300 aged care homes and around 20,000 beds just between them. New ones in the past quarter listed there include Warrigal at 1,450 beds, Widden at 1,750 beds, and Anglicare at 800 beds. The thing about the Australian market to keep in mind is the market is consolidating, with the large providers continuing to acquire smaller providers. And these large providers are all going fully digital. In fact, our conversations with them is really about integration with their medication management, with their care management systems. So there is a digital platform capturing all the information. PainChek is the only digital regulatory cleared medical device to assess pain. So we're in a super position as the market consolidates. And as we do have partnerships, integration partnerships in place that cover the vast majority of the aged care facilities. The UK numbers are also growing substantially. The UK market is around 440,000 beds. We've got 20,000 beds contracted, or close to 20,000 beds contracted, with new clients in the past quarter, including Exemplar, which is 63 homes, 1,800 beds, and TLC, 9 homes and 600 beds. We're also now engaged with HC1. HC1 is a client I've been talking to the past few years. They actually have more than 20,000 beds across the UK. We've just got our first 3-site pilot working with them. And if that all rolls out, if that goes to plan, then we could see a rollout across all of the whole estate of HC1. In addition, we continue to see local and national government funding supporting aged care facilities, including the one from Enfield Local Council or Local Authority, who basically provided funding for 80 care homes, not 1,900 beds across the region to access PainChek. So that's being rolled out over the next few months as part of our rollout program. We're also retaining and building up new training partners to help speed up the implementation. We've got a lot of beds we've signed up. We're rolling them out as rapidly as possible, and we've got some partners in place now to improve and speed up the implementation and training process. So great results from the UK as well. One of the things driving the UK results is outcomes. And the UK is very big on outcomes. Last month I presented, or last quarter I presented the results from Orchard Care about how they reduce the use of antipsychotic medication, how they reduce the use of benzodiazepines. Now, this is, again, some new data from 3 of our clients, Adept Care, Harbour Health and Braeburn. And what they're showing through various studies and various outcomes that they're reducing, once they've introduced PainChek into their process, they've reduced falls by 75%. They've actually reduced the use of opioids, which avoiding therefore the risk of addiction to strong painkillers. And they're also seeing reduction in use of things like constipation, which is often the result of reducing the use of strong pain medications. So the more of this data we get, and in fact the Orchard Care paperwork is being published as a peer-reviewed publication, the more outcomes we get like this, the bigger the take-up across the country. So let's talk a little bit about PainChek for those who are new to this presentation, about what we are, and how we address a global market need. We started our journey in aged care because that's where the pain problem is at its greatest. 80% of people in aged care experience chronic pain. 70% of them are living with dementia or cognitive impairments, and 50% of these people live with dementia or often have undetected and untreated pain. And the reason for that is simple, is because pain is very difficult to assess. For a variety of reasons. Firstly, because of past experiences of pain, how that's been treated and what that's influenced by, because pain assessment is multidimensional. You need to observe verbal expressions as well as non-verbal expressions, and it's highly subjective and highly personal experience, and it varies greatly from person to person. So it's a complex issue assessing pain, and especially for people living with dementia and cognitive impairments. And it's made even harder today with a high turnover of staff. So there's clearly a need for an objective and easy to use pain assessment tool. And that's where PainChek steps in. I'll talk about how the product works in a minute, but some people often ask us, what is the competition? What is your competition? Well, our competition is really the legacy pain assessment tools, which were developed 20 odd years ago, including the Abbey pain scale on the left-hand side, which is used in many markets, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the US. The problem with paper-based pain scales, they're difficult to implement, they're subjective, largely paper-based, and not used at the point of care. Now, the good thing about this is that when we brought our PainChek into the market, the developer of the Abbey pain scale, Jennifer Abbey, initially recognized the benefits of PainChek, and is one of our biggest supporters. You can see a quote from Jenny here on the right-hand side. She's actually on our advisory board now, our clinical advisory board, and she likes it because it's evidence-based. We've got clinical documentation supporting it. It's used at the point of care, and it helps rapidly guide nursing staff to dispense better and more accurate pain medications. And that's a great benefit we deliver, and it's recognized by people. That's why one of the reasons why the take-up has happened so rapidly, because it's been accepted by the developers of the original pain tools. So how does PainChek work? Well, PainChek, as I said, is a digital medical device that comes in the form of an app, and it works on any compatible iOS and Android smart device. The way the PainChek system works is, firstly, you switch on the device. It's very simple to use. You switch on the device, and it accesses the mobile camera to conduct a 3-second scan of the face to analyze and document the presence or absence of 9 microfacial features indicative of pain. And these features include brow lowering, nose wrinkling, parting lips, closing eyes. We do that automatically through a 3-second scan of the face. The data from that is then stored, and it's combined with non-facial pain-related features, things like vocalizations of movements and behaviors. And these are inputted by the user and who is observing the resident at that time, so a nurse or a carer at that time. And together, they calculate a pain score and assign a pain intensity ranging from no pain, mild pain, moderate, or severe. So this is a combination of AI technology with people utilization and observations from nurses and carers. With all the talk of AI these days, and how people are worried about it taking jobs, this is a perfect example of how AI complements and helps carers, doctors, nurses use their skills along with the skills of the AI technology to actually provide better and more accurate pain assessments. So I think this is an ideal model to represent how AI should be used in healthcare. The other thing we do with PainChek is we document every single pain assessment on our back-end system. We've now got more than 3 million pain assessments conducted with the PainChek app. And we provide our partners, and also we provide our customers, trends on how they're managing their pain for their clients, and they can use that data for their accreditation and their quality processes as needed within the aged care facility. This data and analytics is becoming as valuable as the app itself for our clients, and provides a wealth of information back to PainChek on how we can continually improve the product and make it more patient-oriented and customer-oriented. So this is a real value add we provide to our clients. Finally, I want to talk about our global market strategy and partnerships. The strategy for the business is really quite straightforward. We've got two business models, a B2B enterprise license model that we use in aged care, in settings such as aged care, hospitals, and primary care for both the adult and for the infant app. And a subscription model, a B2C subscription model for selling directly to carers or family members through the Apple Store or other outlets. Primarily, we focused on the B2B enterprise license to date, working with aged care facilities. However, we do see the shift to the subscription license model in the future as we do more and more home care and direct-to-consumer services. Part of our strategy, part of our success is really based upon our ability to actually work with partners. We've got more than 20 partners around the world who've integrated the PainChek technology into their platforms. This is a reflection of these companies on this slide. What that basically does, it ensures our technology, the PainChek technology, integrates with their clients and our clients' patient and medication records, saving time, saving effort, and supporting delivery of better care. Collectively, these partners of ours also give us access to more than 1.5 million aged care facilities beds around the world. This number is 20 times more than our current bed numbers. So therefore, these partnerships are really helping us. And some of these partners are actually starting to resell for us in their markets, and these partnerships continue to grow. So every time I show you this, there's more and more partners on this page because they recognize PainChek is the only pain assessment digital tool, and it's required by all their customers. So a great statement on how PainChek is recognized. Finally, on the US area, I want to talk through US market is a big opportunity for us. As I said before, we're looking to launch in 2024 with de novo regulatory clearance. It's a 2 million bed aged care market, with the vast majority obviously in the US and the 200,000 beds in Canada. So we've established now 3 agreements, 3 partnerships, which are really critical to making a rapid entry to the market. The first one, as it's announced before, was PainChek Care. They are the leading care management provider in the US with 1 million beds under contract. That's 50% of that North American market. We've integrated with them, and our integration product is working, and it's actually about to be used in our first sites in Canada. The second partnership is with Ethos Labs. This is the latest one. They are a pathology lab that does pain markers or does pain marker assessment, and they will provide a sales, distribution, and marketing capability to help us rapidly penetrate the long-term market or the aged care market in the US. And the third one we talked about before is InterSystems, which is very much a global hospital partnership. But they've got a big presence in the US, and as you're aware, I was actually twice with them this year, presenting at the Chicago HIMSS conference, and also at their global conference in Miami with 1,000 of their customers around the world. So that's led to a load of initiatives for us in the hospital sector across Europe and across Asia and Australia. I just want to talk a little bit more about Ethos Labs, because Ethos Labs are our latest partnership, and they're a really interesting company. Based in Cincinnati, they've developed a biochemical pain index, and that's basically a urine analysis done in a laboratory environment using mass spectrometers to assess long-term pain, especially for chronic pain patients. And they've done very well with that technology. What we have done is pull together an agreement whereby they will use their sales capability, their specialist capabilities in pain to bring PainChek through their sales force into the aged care market. So first priority with them is to work together to strategize and get PainChek into the aged care facilities and potentially link into their we're a short-term marker and they're a long-term marker. Second area we're working with them on is to build a reimbursement item number for the US markets. They're very good at this, that their product's reimbursed, and they know the reimbursement process. We're working with them so we can have a reimbursement number pulled together in parallel for regulatory clearance. And the third area is we're looking to go more broadly into the outpatient sector and combine their tech and our tech together to help doctors and carers generally in the outpatient environment, the home environment, provide better pain assessment tools to assess how people are managing and responding to pain medications and pain intensive treatments. So really exciting relationship, and I think with those three together, we're in good shape. Finally, in terms of the infant products, we've done the direct consumer marketing. We can talk more about this next time, but we're finalising our consumer marketing for the infants, and we're also building up a vocalization feature. In fact, we've completed the R&D work on the vocalization feature, which will merge audio and voice together to help assess whether a baby's cry is a cry of pain or no pain. So we should finish the consumer research in the next few months, and we're looking to go direct to the Australian market with the first cut product later this year. So this is a summary of the upcoming analysis. Catalyst will continue to accelerate sales and growth in aged care. We'll continue to enter the hospital market with InterSystems. We're ready. We believe we're ready for the FDA entrance into that 2 million bed market into US in 2024, and we've got the partnerships in place to support that. And finally, of course, the infant one is still massive for us. Finally, this is our corporate summary. Thank you to our shareholders for the ongoing support. The company is now generating real cash to fund the business and demonstrating strong top-line growth compared to previous years with significant growth opportunities. Market cap of about 36 mil. Board and management shareholding remains stable around 10% of the company, and the company has no debt. Share price today is roughly the same where it was this time last year, so I believe it's not reflective of the growth and the achievements we've achieved in the past year, and also the pipeline and the growth opportunities. So I'll hold it there and take any questions.
Thank you, Philip. As you've mentioned there, we'll now jump to questions. These will be based on some received via email, as well as any that the audience wants to send through live. So please feel free to do so using the Q&A panel within Zoom. So the first question is, in June 2022, the expected ARR was quoted by PainChek as 4.3 million. In the quarterly just released, the recognised revenue was 1.951. Well, what is the reason for this shortfall in revenue?
Look, I think there's a couple of mixtures there. So the ARR, we said last year was, we said that if we converted 85% of all the government-funded beds, we'd get the conversion of those would get us to a 4.3 million. As it is today, we're at 3.4 million, but with a pipeline of over 40,000 beds. So it's actually a timing issue. And if we add those 40,000 beds to our current one, we'd be way above the 4.3. So that's ARR. So the ARR is that growth that's in progress, and we should exceed that 4.3 million we talked about a year ago in the next quarter or so. Though I think the 1.95 they're talking about there is I think, Matt, that's the recurring revenue. That's the recognised revenue, I think, because recognised revenue is something from the past. It's not ARR. So I think that they're two different numbers. So to be clear, our ARR is 3.4 million to date, and we'll be looking to actually go faster than that and improve that in the next period.
Thank you. The next question is, please provide an update, if any, on a potential partnership with Boots Walgreens.
Oh yeah, look, we're still talking to Boots and Boots in the UK. However, what we've actually done is that some of the clients that Boots were going to introduce us to or sell to directly for us, we've already sold to directly, and that saved us giving away a 30% margin. So yes, we're still in contact with Boots, but actually what's happening now is we're finding we're able to actually sell directly to the Boots clients in aged care and also save ourselves a significant margin. So yes, conversation still continues, but if we can sell directly, why should we?
Thank you. The next question is, FDA submission is quoted as Q4 CY23. Is this more likely to be submitted at the end of the Q4 in December rather than October?
Look, a good question. And look, in terms of the FDA, look, what we've done, we've completed the human factors testing. That's all done. We've now recruited the lead investigator, and this is a really top group to actually conduct the clinical study. They are now out there recruiting 100 patients for testing, and that's going to include a mix of American populations, 20 Caucasians, 20 Latinos, 20 African Americans, 20 Asians. So that's all happening right now. And they'll be used across a range of facilities in the US, because actually most US facilities, aged care, are Caucasian. So we have to go to different sectors to find them. The reality is it's a short trial. It's a 4 to 6 week trial, and we're now actually recruiting these patients. So we should start the trial in August now. Should complete the actual work in the September-October period. And therefore, then it's about pulling the data together to submit to the FDA. So we're confident we'll get the FDA data to them before the end of this year. Whether it's October or November or December, it's still to be worked out. It depends on the recruitment, but it's all going to plan.
Thank you. And then you've almost touched on it there, but how long do you expect the FDA approval process to take?
Well, they should come back to us in 90 days. That's the sort of standard for a de novo. So once we submit it, then we should get feedback 90. If everything goes to plan, everything's done. Remember, we did 3 supplements with the US FDA to make sure our clinical study would be ticked off. Should we get the right results? So we're very confident we've got the right study, and therefore it all goes to plan. After 90 days submission, we'd hope to get our de novo clearance.
The next question is, what is the update on the Kids app launch? And that's as opposed to the Infant app.
Right. Kids app. Yes, we're sorry, you're right. Good point. Kids app. So the Infant is 1 month to 12 months of age. The Kids app is up to 3 years. We've done a lot of recruitment of video of kids in that 2 to 3 year period. So we're building that database up. But our first launch will be the Infant app, which is the 1 to 12 month age group, initially with a face only assessment. That's a pick up the face, the facial features of pain, and a 3-second assessment, and that would be the first product. And then we're also looking to bring in the audio, the actual ability to differentiate between a cry of pain and a cry of no pain, and that actually could be incorporated into that Infant app. And it could also be supplied separately into things like baby monitors. So the auditory ability to pick up pain through microphones and differentiate between no pain and pain is something that we've got in our pocket now, and that could be marketed totally separately from the actual app itself. So going to baby monitors and which are massively used at home these days. But so we've got two models. So in terms of launch, Infant first, face only, and then we're looking to build in the vocalization elements as well, both in the app ourselves and also for the use in other places like baby monitors. And then eventually the 1 to 3 year old will be the next step in terms of launch.
Thank you. The next question is regarding the Infants app this time. Could clarity be provided on the difference between distribution strategy, targeted direct-to-consumer market entry, and marketing mix mentioned in the quarterly commentary?
All right. Look, I think the questions on that really relate back to the work we're doing now in terms of research. So we've just completed the qualitative research with a number of parents on the product and its use, and we've got some really good feedback which we're updating our product. It's mostly around the education and the utility of the product, when to use it, how to use it, what to look out for in terms of rule out factors. So these are all, and how to build that into the education program. This is really important for a direct to consumer. So therefore there's clarity of use for parents. And also I think from the parents who've got the feedback that, having healthcare professional support as part of the launch is key. So we're building that as well. We're now moving into the quantitative assessment, which is the 4 Ps. We talked about the 4 Ps being product, price, promotion, distribution, and we've got some feedback from families as to where they would like to access it from, how they would like to access it, even by the healthcare professionals, etc. and we're building that into the whole launch program. So should have that complete by the end of this quarter, and then do our first soft market launch of the infant app late or Q4 calendar 2023.
Thanks, Philip. The next question's again on the kids app. Is there any potential for this to be used in daycare centres? Huge market with great exposure to parents.
The answer is 100%. Absolutely. It's a great place for it to be used, because then a care and daycare centre can call the mum up and dad and say, look, your child's crying a lot. I've done the pain assessment. It doesn't seem to be in pain, but they're crying a lot. And, you know, its utility, the kids app utility is very broad. It's got a great opportunity, and that's why we're really going about it in a very steady and strategic process. I look, in my past, I worked with Roche with diabetes monitoring, coagulation monitoring, cholesterol assessment. We provided all these tests directly to consumer at home. You've got to get it right so it really works well. And once you get it right and it works well, then the market takes off. So yes, the answer there is absolutely. There's many opportunities for the infant app.
Thank you. The next question is, could Philip please provide progress of Scotland trials and how they are going and when we can expect to see them completing? Yeah,
the Scottish trials are ongoing now. I don't have a latest update, but last I heard from my team, they're all going positively. There's one in Scotland, there's one in Wales as well. And I think they're going through a 3 to 6 month trial process. And our team is constant contact with them. We're also talking to, I think we mentioned this before, Royal Edinburgh Hospital for a trial in their hospital with the adult app, and that's with InterSystems. And if that goes to plan, it's going to happen. And of course, Royal Edinburgh control the majority of the Scottish hospitals, or are part of a group of the Scottish hospitals. So we could be seeing, you know, aged care and hospital growth in Scotland this year.
Great. The next question is Japan regulatory approval. When is this expected to be completed, and what should we expect after approval? And are there any commercial discussions happening?
Sorry, just start the question again, Matt. I think
sorry, regarding Japanese regulatory approval, when is it expected to be completed? What to expect after approval, and are there any commercial discussions?
Japan, we've just submitted all our data in Japanese to the PMDA, and we're waiting for feedback. And the feedback we're still waiting for, and that feedback will be on as to how we're rated as a medical device and what category. Now, Japan takes time. I've done Japan in the past with Cochlear as well. It takes time, Japan. So what we're doing now is just getting the clarity on where we fit in the regulatory clearance, what we have to do, and then we'll start the work. So yes, we've had a few commercial discussions, but they're very early days. Japan won't be in the Japanese market for at least one to 2 years. It just takes a long time in Japan, but you have to start. And I've got a good person in Japan working with us who is very experienced in this area. Local Japanese guys, you know, worked in the US, got extensive global experience in the business. So we're in good shape.
And the next question is, what is the progress, if any, with regards to other European countries?
Talking to a couple of groups in Germany. Germany is a very interesting market. It's a 750,000 bed aged care market, so it's almost double the size of the UK. With sophisticated partners there. We're talking to a couple of the CMS providers there, and through a number of channels, including InterSystems. And that's going to be one of my goals late this year, is just to get that established and to have a market. Remember, we've got CE mark clearance already, so we can go straight into Germany. Obviously, we'd need a German version of the product. That's not difficult, but it's more about getting the right partnership. So that's a bit of work in progress for us. But Germany is the next big market after the UK and Europe.
Thank you. The next question is, where is InterSystems currently using PainChek outside the US, and is there any revenue being generated yet for PainChek by InterSystems outside the US?
InterSystems won't generate any revenue. We will generate the revenues like we do in aged care. We do the selling. InterSystems are our integration partner, to be clear. So what happens is when you use PainChek at the point of care in a hospital or by a bedside, then it gets documented into the middleware, the Iris middleware, which InterSystems provide. and the TrackCare EMR system, which is like the full documentation system. So we've done all the integration work there, so that the flow goes automatically, which is a requirement in the hospital. You cannot sell in the hospital unless your data is being stored on the EMR system, right? So you can't get in otherwise. So that's been done for us globally with InterSystems. As I said, our first real market we're looking at is working in Scotland with Royal Edinburgh Infirmary, big Scottish group, very keen, got a great pain management team there which we're working with, and they'll be utilising it across the hospital and seeing how it works. And we get that going, then that will be our first. I would say that's going to be our first client. We do have some other hospitals talking to in Canada as well now, and in Australia. That's separate from the InterSystems one, but this InterSystems one is very strategic for us and very focused.
Right, the next question is, how long after FDA clearance would you expect to see realised beds in the US market, and have the three key partners outlined any indication on this?
Well, that's why we've set up the three partnerships. So we've got the integration done with PointClick Care. That's big tick. We've got a Salesforce capability through Ethos Labs. They've got about 20 to 30 salespeople selling into that sector across the US. And then we've got the InterSystems partnership with the hospital sector. So, yes, we will look to put some of our own people in the market as well. That's part of our strategy, to manage and work with these three channel providers.
And following on from that, same person's asked, where are you up to with Philips, GE, etc.?
Yeah, I said with Artima, we've recontacted Philips, so that's conversations opened up again. My goal is to get back to Europe this next quarter, before the end of this year, and actually visit them, not just talk about the adult app, but also talk about the infant app, and also talk about our vocalization with the infant product, because Philips, as you also know, are massive in baby monitors. So there's 2 or 3 angles there, but that's got to be a business-to-business meeting towards the end of this year, and I really want to take all 3 aspects to that discussion, and not just Philips, but certainly Philips is something to follow up on later this year.
Thanks, Philip. Just one last reminder, if anyone has a question, please type it in using the Q&A panel, because we're coming to the end. But I do have one more, Philip, which is, who is InterSystems, how big are they, and why do they like the product?
InterSystems are a large company. They're $1 billion ARR company. I went to their conference in Miami. There was 1,000 people there, 750 customers from around the world, and I think 200 of their staff. I think I presented myself and my colleague, and we gave 3 presentations over 3 days on PainChek. And we posted as innovation in digital technology in healthcare. So they just see that this is this is pain is not managed well in the hospital. They've been doing this since 1978, right? They've been around a long time. They're a private company, but a large business, and they just open up their platforms for digital technologies that are innovative. So PainChek has been chosen amongst a few others to fully integrate, and they promote us and they work with us in Australia, in New Zealand, in multiple markets. We're actually going to be presenting at their conferences in Asia Pacific, in Australia, and in the UK over the next 3 to 6 months as well. So it's a great partnership. They believe we add value to their platforms, and we believe, and we need their integration to actually sell effectively into hospitals. So it's a true win-win situation. We sell directly, and we take all the margin. There's no margin for InterSystems. They provide integration capability, and we pay a small fee for that integration capability.
Thanks, Philip. There's no further question. Oh, we've got one last one. Will you partner with eConsult at any point in the future?
Great question, and we're in great communication. eConsult, the CEO of eConsult is, I went to visit eConsult in London when I was there. Great product, and they love PainChek, and I'm talking in direct contact with their CEO about how we could, and this is part of the outpatient concept, and things like how to use PainChek as in the triage in the emergency room, because what eConsult have done, and this is slightly digressing, but eConsult have built this excellent triage capability using iPads across many hospitals in the UK. So the first thing you do when you get to an accident emergency or an ER room is the first thing you do is you go to the iPads and you put in all your information, and for them to work out how urgent you are. So it's a digital system, and one of the questions in the digital system is pain. How much pain are you in? And of course, what the problem was with the system they first put out there is that when they said how much pain you're in, 0 to 10, everyone placed 10. so that didn't really help. So what we're talking about doing, and this is just one element of their triaging program, is bringing in PainChek to do the facial assessment and to pose some of the other questions that we do to actually give a more objective pain assessment of each person waiting in triage, and therefore whether to escalate them faster or slow them down or even send them home. So we're talking right now about how we can do this. We're talking technically at the moment to look at the integration capability, and then subsequent to that, how we would actually fit it into their model, and then there'll be obviously a B2B discussion. But no, the relations was really good, and I met him actually through InterSystems. He was actually the CEO of eConsult, was on the same platform as me, presenting eConsult as I was presenting PainChek, and then we just got together after and said, we've got to do this together, right? And so they've got a good presence across a large number of hospitals in the UK. So I'll keep you updated on how that progresses, but the communication is excellent.
Very good. That was the final question now. So Philip, I'll just throw it back to you if you wanted to provide any closing comment.
Sure, just very quickly, Can. Just first of all, I want to thank my team, who've been with me, mostly people from day one or very early on, across the, done a fantastic job, and of the staff that work for them. We're 25 people. It's a very small company, but these guys have done a fantastic job over the past years and have really driven the business. And so I've got to thank them for their fantastic work. Also, thank you to the board. Including now we've got Cynthia Payne on board, who's added some really good experience. She's come from the aged care sector, and she has got her own consulting business, which we were working in collaboration with now to give education and training to aged care on areas like pain management and better pain care. And finally, just thank you to all our shareholders for your support of the past period. I just want to say that I think we've done a fantastic job of the last year. I don't think our share price reflects what we've done or what the opportunity is. But I thank you for your support and ongoing support. And that I'll sign off and say thank you for your time.
Right, thanks, Philip. Yes, we'll leave it at that. Once again, the replay will be available shortly after this finishes at the same link, and feel free to reach out to the team if there's any further questions. But thanks again for everyone's time, and thanks, Philip.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, everyone.